Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, we know things aren't going very well over there at the Ubisoft company after the absolute disastrous dumpster fire of a launch that was Star Wars Outlaws, which has failed miserably to really relate to any of the fans out there, and with its really bad graphics and abysmal broken mechanics out there that have seen patches come out left and right for this game. One patch that even broke the game so bad, it's the very first patch that made it to where if you did pay that $120 for early access out there, you ended up having to restart your entire game, losing sometimes hours upon hours of actual playthroughs. I think somebody said they lost 12 hours of playthrough, all simply because of the fact that they released a broken and busted game right out there from the get-go. Not to mention all of the rest of the nonsense that has clearly caused this game to concentrate more on owning the chuds out there than actually good quality game mechanics and actually respecting the Star Wars lore in any way, shape, or form. Well, boys and girls, the parent company Ubisoft that's responsible for the disastrous dumpster fire is now getting called out for it by their very own investors, and even being argued that they should allow someone else to buy out the company and take it over if they are not willing to take it private, because, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be one disastrous dumpster fire after another for Ubisoft, and if anybody thinks that Assassin's Creed Shadows out there is going to save them, well, I've got some very nice oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you, ladies and gentlemen. So, from bounding into comics and our dear sweet Spencer Bakuli, investment firm calls for Ubisoft to be taken private after Star Wars Outlaws tanks the stock. Shareholders are hostages of the Gilmot family members and Tencent, who take advantage of them. Yes, boys and girls, we've known Ubisoft has been going down a very dark path for a little while, and it is not turning out very well, with literally their stock being in one of the lowest positions that it has ever seen since it actually went public out there. It is a disastrous dumpster fire, and nothing in the future of Ubisoft is looking like it's going to save it anytime soon. So we're going to check this article from Bounding into Comics, get into all of the juicy details, and see exactly what is going on and what they are calling out, and specifically what kind of reforms they would like to see in Ubisoft to try to turn this company around, and what kind of legal action they are threatening to take against Ubisoft if these kind of demands are not met. So before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, because boys and girls, we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let us know what you think about all this nonsense that's going on out there, and whether or not you think this would be a wise choice for Ubisoft to maybe clear out some of the agenda-driven nonsense inside of the company and actually start giving us good quality games again. So, from Spencer Bakuli over there on Bounding into Comics. In light of the Star Wars Outlaws developers' recent string of failures, an investment firm with a minority stake in Ubisoft is demanding that leadership take concrete action to save the company and their fellow shareholders' money from its ongoing self-implosion. Bada boom right there. From an ever-growing addiction to microtransactions to a total lack of care for their finished products, i.e. Star Wars Outlaw, to the gameplay nearly in all their titles devolving into climb a tower to unlock a portion of the map, do a fetch quest, repeat. Recent years have seen Ubisoft devolve into a relatively well-liked developer into a poster child for the Western video games industry's ongoing decline. And I mean, yeah, microtransactions. Do we need to say anything else on any of that? And thanks to be the studio's most recent release, no other game encapsulates the studio's terrible decision-making than Star Wars Outlaws. Its gameplay feeling just as outdated as its PS2-level graphics and technical optimizations. Honestly, I think Spencer's being too kind, because on one of the first trailers we saw of this video, I initially thought this looked like N64 graphics from Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, which is one of my favorite Star Wars games. It's one of the ones I actually finished out there. And it literally, the graphics in that game looked almost identical to what we saw in this, a game that they were asking you to pay $120 for in order to get early access to and actually get all of the missions and get the actual whole and complete game. Yes, they launched you a broken and buggy game that is not even the whole game if you want to just pay the regular price. Its gameplay, yes, there we go. Outlaws is so objectively boring that even after numerous mainstream critics and influencers were wined and dined and given a VIP tour of Disneyland by Ubisoft, oh yes, we documented that as well, the best opinions they could muster towards the game was a collective meh. Even IGN, one of the absolute access media folks out there, even IGN only gave it a 7. And that's pretty much the best they give any of these games that they don't want to be mean to and give it the rating it absolutely deserves, which is probably more like a 3 or a 4. In the further compounding the game's struggles, giving this reception, JP Morgan downgraded their sales expectation for the game, slashing their predictions from 7.5 million units sold in the fiscal year to just 5.5 million units. Yeah, it's going to come in under those expectations as well. As a result of these developments, September 9th saw Ubisoft stock fall by €1.05. It's 105 euros. Its final price sitting at an abysmal 13.67 by the time France's Euro Next Paris securities market closed for the day, an over 50% drop compared to the same time last year. Yes, it's a disastrous dumpster fire there over at Ubisoft. It should be noted that while some outlets and pundits have taken the declining stock price to represent a 10-year low for the studio, this is not the case, as Ubisoft stock did not rise above its current 13.67 price point until November 2014. So yeah, it hasn't been that low. So unhappy with these results and fearing for his firm's minority stake in the company, AG Investments and Partners founder and company executive Gerard Groupie issued a public letter expressing our deep dissatisfaction with the current performance and strategic direction of the company, and calling for its leadership to take Ubisoft private or allow it to be sold to a strategic investor. Yes, boys and girls, they want to see a hostile takeover come in, and I don't even want it to be hostile. They're telling Ubisoft, you need to lay down and take it if somebody tries to come in and buy this. And guess what? They even have a lot of people. They even claim that they know people that are already invested or interested in purchasing the company and taking it over and actually making it good again. Wouldn't that be interesting? Because trust me, they didn't put a letter out there like this unless they had all their ducks in a row and knew what was coming down the pipeline. So they say in their statement, we believe that Ubisoft, a current valuation, is deeply undervalued and should be worth between 40 to 45 euro per share. It said Kruppa, whose stake does own less than 1% of the company, but we're going to get to why that matters in a minute. The main reason why the valuation is so low compared to the peers is that Ubisoft's current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostages of the Guillemot family members and Tencent, who takes advantage of them. Tencent. Like we need to say anything else. Management is focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focusing on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for gamers, which, mind you, this is a company who is still in the red and who is bleeding money and hoped that Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows would turn them into a positive cash flow. Yeah, that's not going to happen. It's only going to get worse for Ubisoft. I promise you that, boys and girls. Our company has extensive knowledge about the gaming industry, and we are a long-term shareholder in Activision Blizzard. And we started our Ubisoft position a couple of weeks ago and are still adding to it. We cannot understand the decision-making process of current management that is focused on releasing multiple average games per year that are harming Ubisoft's reputation among the gamers community, instead of focusing to provide hit games with an exceptional franchise portfolio. And that's absolutely right. Assassin's Creed, they go through the list a whole bunch of them. We're not going to go over their full example of what they do because we'd be here. This would end up being a 40-minute video, and this one's already probably going to be long enough as is. But we're going to go over some of the highlights, right? To this end, the investors then put forth full proposals which they believed would help right Ubisoft's sinking AAA ship, including taking the company private for a fair price. We urge the board to consider taking Ubisoft private, with Tencent as a significant partner and shareholder. The highlight is, we urge the current management not to block any takeovers, as there are several PE groups that would be interested based on our research. They already know somebody sees the potential in this company and all of their IPs and wants to buy it, so they're urging them not to stop that. We urge the Guillemot company, in the event of an offer from the PE group or a strategic investor, we urge the Guillemot family to accept this bid, when this bid will be for a fair price. If this offer won't be accepted, we will sue for reimbursement of damages. Yes, boys and girls, they know an offer is coming and they are perfectly ready to sue to stop this. Cost reduction and staff optimization. That all makes sense. I mean, maybe get rid of your diversity inclusion officer, your DEI officer. There's an idea. Focus on core IPs. Titles like Rainbow Six Siege, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Watch Dogs, and the Tom Clancy titles such as Splinter Cell should be prioritized and cherished, ensuring they maintain their market-leading positions. Absolutely. These are the games that put Ubisoft on the map. I know I was an Assassin's Creed fanatic for a long time. I constantly played games like this. There was literally an entire parkour phenomenon that came out of those games. We were literally seeing people at Comic-Cons teaching parkour lessons, how to parkour like an assassin because of the popularity of this franchise. And now we see the trailer for their latest game getting ratioed and roasted on YouTube, and have an entire country coming up in arms because of the disrespect of their history out there. Seriously, how the mighty have fallen. Management changes this. Obviously, find a new CEO that's actually good at doing this kind of stuff and prioritizing the kind of things that you need. So they go on to say, the urge the board to consider our proposals seriously within the next 60 days and act in the best interest of the company and its shareholders. If we do not receive any reply, we will get together with other minority shareholders who share our views and make a bigger push against Ubisoft management according to the French minority shareholder law. That's right, boys and girls, because Ubisoft is a French company. They have different laws, and we sure know how Europe likes to screw over the big corporations and protect the little guy, and including investors out there. That gives them a legal authority to sue if they don't get their way. We are in contact with institutional and retail investors of Ubisoft to act together in the increased value for all shareholders, in order to increase value for all shareholders. Our shareholders group has requested a meeting with current management. What do you think their chances of getting it are? French and EU law provides comprehensive legal framework for the protection of minority shareholders and the resolution of situations of abuse by dominant positions by controlling shareholders. I.e., just because you've got the biggest stake does not mean you get to decide the direction of the company. Isn't that interesting? As a minority shareholder, together with others, we will use all our legal possibilities to achieve our goal. Now, do I agree with this law on strictly a philosophical and moral standpoint? No. I believe if you own a company, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want with it. You know what I mean? But you do have investors, you do have people banking on your stuff, but that should be based on their own thing. You know what? If they believe that your company is going to be a success and you fail, then that's one thing. If you have laws where you violate the laws and you lie to people, then of course, understandable kind of things out there. But to allow the minority shareholders to sue you and potentially damage your company, well, if that's not woke on woke crime, I don't know what it is. I mean, a lot of people might give me a good reasons for these laws, and you can let me know in the comment section down below. But at the end of the day, that's kind of funny. A very Marxist, socialist kind of style of things out there to, protect the little guy is actually going to end up bringing down a company who has literally tried to put the woke agenda over all of their actual storytelling and good gameplay, right? Because even the fans asked if they were going to delay Star Wars Outlaws to fix how much of a mess it looked. And they said, no, full steam ahead. How'd that work out for them? How did that work out for them? So I love it. As a minority shareholder, together with others, we will use all legal possibilities to achieve our goal. This is hilarious. I don't know what this means. I don't know how far this is going to go. I don't know enough about EU law. Hell, I don't know enough about American law to know exactly how far this is going to go. But what I do know is these are people with stakes in the company and probably stakes in the overall gaming industry. That's probably why they decided to go out there, and when they saw the disastrous dumpster fire that Ubisoft was currently in the status of, after releasing disastrous dumpster fire after disastrous dumpster fire, bleeding money left and right, and of course watching what happened with Star Wars Outlaws, they went, look, this is a game, you know what, the Assassin's Creed and some of these the Tom Clancy games are probably some of their favorites. They probably love these games, and they don't want to see them go down this road. They don't want to see them get destroyed. So what did they do? They put their money where their mouth was. They took out a stake in Ubisoft, and now they're trying to change it. And that's great. I love to see that. I hope they succeed. I would love to see good quality Assassin's Creed games that I can actually get excited for and play again. There are a million examples of these out there going throughout the history of Ubisoft. But what we do know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that Star Wars Outlaws is a disastrous dumpster fire and has cost the company hundreds of millions of dollars. And I believe, and I may be wrong, but I highly doubt it, Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to do the exact same thing. These are both two games. The company has said in their own meeting minutes that they were banking to make sure that they would be successes and turn around their negative cash flow. How's that working out for them, boys and girls? Needless to say, I would highly advise Ubisoft to listen to these investors out there and let the company go private and fix your nonsense. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be Ubisoft's decision. Are they down with the agenda all the way down to burn down their entire game company? Or are they willing to make a change and actually give gamers what they want? We certainly will find out in the upcoming years. And at the end of the day, Ubisoft, you will get exactly what you deserve.